So this is the rocket fish, and my buddy Chandler here was nice enough to let me borrow and ride. And it's kind of like the rocket fish horsepower. You can see there's a lot of similarities, which is a board I rode for a couple days. And you know, it's really short, it's really wide. I mean, take a look at this. I don't know if you can see this, but look at the space between my toe and where my toe ends and where the edge begins. So it's super wide, and then it's got a lot of taper and a lot of side cut, and you even see kind of like a real interesting tail. You can see that as the tail turns up, it also turns out a little bit on each side, so it's less catchy there. And you know, you can see where my binding is on the tail. There's still a massive amount of space, but it's a lot smaller than the nose. And it's a very, just like the rocket fish horsepower, or HP, high performance, not horsepower, it has, you know, a very front foot forward ride that takes a little time to get used to. I just rode this for a half a day, but if I hadn't ridden the rocket, the rocket fish HP, it would have taken me a whole day to get used to this, because it's a very different ride. And we switched around with a couple different friends who, you know, the last person who rode this rode Goofy, and I gotta say, it's a very interesting board, and it's a very difficult concept if you come from the double ender world, or even riding tapered directional freeride boards. It's a whole new world, and it's not for everybody, but the right kind of rider who really has, you know, you really have to retrain yourself to ride almost solely off your front foot. And if you don't, your back foot's gonna slip out. And like my first run, I stacked, I had a crash that I like, you know, that was harder than I've had in a long time. I felt like I took a trip back like 15 years ago to when I was learning. And then, you know, by about the fourth run, I was feeling pretty good on it. But you also have a really narrow stance width. So, you know, I'm going usually right around 22.5, 23, and this is the widest you can get on this is 20. So you really have to retrain yourself there too. You know, I went from being kind of comfortable to being like this and just having to squat a lot. So it's very, for me, I feel it's very much a, you know, a quiver board. You can engage the camber, you can make some carving turns, but you really have to, you know, really put that leverage on the front foot and really just let your back foot follow quietly. And so I think for the right rider who's looking for just, you know, something really new and really different in their quiver, the rocket fish, or if you're a smaller rider, the rocket fish HP could be a good choice. And I also love that every Gentemstick base really understands that you're going to be riding this off piste most of the time, and you're going to get dings. So black P-Tex is the easiest, so they have an all black base with a little dot. And so that's the Gentemstick rocket fish.